All right, guys, we are back from break. Hopefully, you guys didn't go too far, but we're gonna talk about the Blizzard Streaming Awards. And for those of you
thought
that,
you might.
what was that?
I said I thought you might.
I thought you might exactly.
Well, why is that, Chan, man? Do tell.
Well, okay. So, anyways, the Blizzard announced that in partnering with Twitch, that they're announcing these streaming awards. Which let me link you guys and show you the announcement here. Where was it? It's right here. And it's kind of interesting, and the fact that they're giving out awards. I mean, I think it's kind of cool that they're giving out streaming awards in particular. But they've actually
this is an amazing idea with the absolute possible worst execution in the history of all.
Okay, wait, before you get into it, let me explain what it is. Okay, so they're giving out like awards to particular streams, and they have different categories. But the interesting part of it is they're giving 45,000. They're awarding 45,000 to the winners, just split up. And some of the categories are based on votes from the general public, and then some will be based on more of an analytics type of thing. So Twitch will tabulate, just general things, probably things like most hours streamed and stuff like that, and give awards that way too. So you can see the categories here, and Steven and I happen to be in two of these categories. But before we talk about that, I wanna get y'all's opinion on all of this. And Steven, I know you have a lot of opinions on it, so let me just briefly get their opinions, and then we'll go into yours. Richard, you start off on this one.
Well, this is one of the few things I'm kind of ambivalent about, and I definitely don't want to steal Steven's thunder, so I'll keep it brief. It's a good idea. It's definitely good to see Blizzard trying to incentivize the people that effectively give so much over to the community, and it's an area that hasn't. Bizarrely, had a lot of attention paid to it. I think financially incentivizing it's great, and it's actually a decent prize as well. It's not some fucking book tokens, which is even all the more surprising. But again, execution-wise, pretty shit, which is where I'll hand over to my good friend Destiny.
Well, we'll go with Paul first. Paul, what are your thoughts?
All right, I see. All right, host.
Steve's going to be talking for like 10 minutes, okay? So we'll let him talk for 10 minutes.
I will be brief as well. I actually love this idea. I think this is, I'm going to harp on about the old days here a little bit, but back in the day, when Shoutcaster meant someone that plugged Winamp into the Shoutcast plugin and streamed audio. I would have loved something like this. I really would have, as a streamer back in the day, before we had video, to have come out like this would be extraordinary. I know I don't care if you think that it's been badly implemented or not. I mean, Destiny will probably put us straight in a minute, but the point is, they're giving 45 grand to people who do this for a living, right? So it's just more money, and that's really cool. And it's not even the money, I don't think. It's the fact that you get an award that's by Twitch and by Blizzard and recognised by the community as doing something for them, and that's phenomenal. It's absolutely brilliant. I love the idea.
All right, Steven, thoughts?
The idea is really, really cool, but the problem is like, okay, let's do an analogy, okay? Are you ready? Let's say that you have an event, or you've got some people and you want to get some giant thing cleaned up, right? Let's say you've got a big fucking mess outside, okay? Huge mess, and it's going to take days to clean up, and you've got 100 people to help you clean it up, right? Now, let's say after that, those 100 people clean it up, and then at the very, very, very end, you say to the guy that worked the hardest, you're like, wow, I just want to say you worked harder than all those other people. Like, I'm going to give you $1,000. And the guy's like fucking sick. Like, they say they were already getting paid minimum wage, and now he just got $1,000, right? Mm-hmm. Does anybody see the problem with that picture?
Of course not, right?
You don't see a problem with that picture? The problem is that if you tell them. The problem is that if you tell them at the start, hey, I'm giving $1,000 to the hardest worker. Holy fuck! You better believe everybody's gonna bust their ass way fucking harder doing the work, right? Because everybody wants to qualify for the prize.
Of course.
Now this money is really cool. I've got a decent shot to win. What I think it's $2,013,
He's like winning,
which is nice, which is cool. Mm-hmm. But could you imagine if they would have announced this at the beginning of the year instead of after they've already tallied the results? When you've got things for like educational programs and like most entertaining stream and shit, can you imagine how much differently the streaming landscape might have been over the past 12 months if people would have known that they were actively working towards this prize? I really like the money. Like, as someone who's probably going to win the category, like, I'm not complaining about the money. That's really cool. You know, especially with Paul said, because there's going to people that try to make a living doing this. So I mean, like, that's really cool. But man, if they would have announced this a year ago, it just makes me wonder a little bit, like, how much would the streaming landscape have changed? Like, would we have gotten more streams out of Grubby? Would Korean people who aren't salaried, would they have tried a little bit harder maybe to have entertaining streams?
Stephen, the thing is, though, right, you will get that now. I mean, they probably didn't have this ready a year ago. They were doing something else. You know,
maybe. I mean, are they going to do it?
Million and
but they should have announced it. They should have announced it, though.
Like, absolutely, should. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but what I'm saying is they've done it now, and it will already make people think this year, ooh, they'll probably do it again next year. I better stream my ass off this year.
Maybe, and if they do, that would be awesome. If that really works that way, then I think that'll be cool. If they can continue doing this year after year, then I think it'll change the streaming landscape quite a bit, because now all of a sudden you have like a real incentive to stream because there are prizes at the end, or people doing educational programs, you know, might try, you know, like really fucking hard to go for exposure, or people doing talk shows and, you know, all that. So I think the idea is really, really cool. The only fault that I could find in this is that I wish it would have been announced even, like you said, maybe the money wasn't available, although I don't necessarily buy that because 45 grand is probably a drop in the bucket to Activision Blizzard. But I mean, like, maybe. I mean, like, if it would have been announced earlier, that would have been really cool. It would have changed the way that streaming was done this year by quite a bit, I would like to think. But, I mean, it's cool.
But as I said, I think it can change it this year, though. I think it will. The other thing, of course, is not just the hardest worker. I think it allows people to start thinking about quality better as well. Because, you know, let's face it, there was a plethora of chat shows now out there. We're on one right now. Happens to be a pretty decent one, and I love the fact that we can tune in every week and get different guests. But there are tons of them, not just in StarCraft, but for all sorts of games out there right now. And there is a very large lack of originality. So getting people to come on board and do their own shows and think, do you know what, I'm going to give that a go. I might not have much money to start with, I might not have many viewers. Chris will tell you, he didn't have many viewers to start with when he started doing these shows. But he's stuck at it, he's worked hard, he's improved the quality. Even the production's getting pretty decent. We haven't had a crash tonight. That's just pushing my luck now. But anyway, the point is that the quality also needs to improve, and I think having prizes like this will help towards that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, hello, are we still there?
Yeah, we're still there. We're still there. I'm actually a little torn on the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, I've been a little conflicted.
I thought you would
have
loved this.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that they're giving awards out. I think that's really cool. I think the place where I'm a little torn is really the categories. I mean, I think favorite, like Diablo streamer, Hearthstone streamer, StarCraft streamer, WoW streamer, I mean, those kind of speak for themselves. It's just going to be the most popular people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think you need categories here. Like, I think those could almost be analytics. Like, almost. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Steven winning StarCraft, that's not going to be a surprise to me. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have a little bit more.
It's like,
it would be nice to have a little bit more qualification on it too, because to be fair, I'm pretty sure I only streamed StarCraft like 3 or 4 months out of the last year. So I mean, that kind of sucks.
I was going to say, if there was a favorite Eve channel right now, I think he'd probably be right.
Exactly right. But no, I think it would have been cool. Like, I think it would be cooler if the categories might have been a little different. Like, most educational, I think is cool. Community, you know, I think is along the same lines as educational. But
yeah, definitely, and to have maybe the things a little bit more open too, because I know like Desert was complaining that like Desert wasn't on the educational streams. I'm sure there are a lot of people who probably felt a little bit wronged, maybe a little bit, that they weren't on some of those lists. And I don't think they released the information on how they actually chose it. Was it just like by committee or?
I have no idea. I mean, no idea how it was. It would
have been announced a little bit earlier. Maybe we would have had time to discuss it as a community too. So
yeah. So I mean, so one thing on one thing that you can maybe question is whether it should be these awards should be voted upon by like maybe a committee of like industry, people informed in the industry versus just a public vote. You know, like. That's one of the things that you can, maybe kind of put into question to this, because, a lot of awards are generally not going to be voted upon by just the general public. Just because, some of the awards are not based upon, it might not be based upon what the award, like, necessarily the category is about. So, for instance, let's say Criparian, right? Let's say Crip, he's only in the Hearthstone one, but, Crip is in the, he's been in the Diablo community, obviously, a huge name in Diablo in the past, and even in the WoW. But if you put him in all three of them, which honestly he probably does qualify for all three of them in some way, then I think it kind of, I don't know. I feel like you kind of get into this just popularity contest, and like Crip would probably win all three of those. Like honestly,
that would be my only minor concern. I mean, I'm not totally against the whole community voting for stuff, but I think in moderation it's better. So, for example, we have the Brit Awards in the UK, which are, they're not brilliant, but they're a measure of pop brilliance, I guess. It's the only thing you can call it. Forget about the fact that the people that win them are pretty crappy and horrible. The point is that the majority of the awards are decided by a selection committee, and one or two awards are decided by popularity votes, which I'm absolutely fine with. And I think, awards in general, de rigueur, should be set up very similar to that. The majority should be chosen by a selective expert panel, and then maybe one or two are done by popularity. And I'd be much happier with that. I really would be. Just don't use it for popularity, because in the end you don't really get the best. You don't necessarily get the best. It's like when we did there was a load of stuff over Christmas about best host of the year. Well, cool. If it gets put in the StarCraft Reddit, great, I've got a chance because everyone's StarCraft knows. If it gets put in the LoL Reddit, then fuck, I've got no chance, and Shocked is going to walk all over me.
Yeah.
If it gets put in the CSGO Reddit, then another guy's going to get it. So it's purely circumstantial and purely based on what community you serve most and how big they are. Yeah. And that's ludicrous to decide an actual award.
Exactly.
It needs to be done by a selection committee.
The underhanded technique. The underhanded technique I was going for was to ally with like 3 or 4 other people from other pools, so that we would all like sync our fan bases up.
Who did that?
I'm not even joking. Yeah, it was me, ChanManV. I messaged Trump to do shit like that.
Yeah, right.
Which is pretty bad. But like you said, like the popularity doesn't prove much. I didn't stream StarCraft 2 that much last year, and I'm pretty sure if there was a committee looking over it, they would probably say something like, Destiny didn't really stream that much StarCraft 2. He's very entertaining, but for 2013, like, should he really get that award streaming League for 7 months? And and if they were to rule against me on that, like, I couldn't argue. Like, it's fucking true. Like, I 100% agree with that. But like, you could stick me in any category except for maybe up against like Crip or up like Day 9. I probably couldn't win those. But in any other category, like, say I did like a really shitty like 1 hour a month, like, hey, from bronze to fucking master, guys, like, this is how you do it. And then like I get thrown in the educational thing, and then you stack me up against other people that put out really good educational content. I'm still gonna fucking womp the shit out of them in that vote because I'm more popular. So voting by committee is, I think, really, really important, and it maybe only limit a select few to the popularity votes, because that can be abused so fucking hard.
Yeah, because like getting. Go ahead, Richard. Actually,
there's actually a precedent for this, and Paul will be able to verify it, because obviously, Turtle Entertainment's esports awards went through a similar evolution process, where I think in their inaugural year in 2006, I think it was, maybe 2005, but certainly, I think 2006. It was a public vote for pretty much across the board with all the awards, and what quickly became apparent was that actually the best material really didn't win. Certainly in the category I was nominated for, it was more journalist. It was the best article of the year. It was pretty much the title won it, and if I remember rightly, in 2006, I think the article that won it was a Counter-Strike 1.6 piece, which was called Spawn, Pro Gamer or Pro Rapper. And the guy who had written it had never even met Spawn. He had never even interviewed Spawn. He had just heard a story that Spawn had recorded a hip-hop single in his own bedroom studio and thought this was fascinating and amazing, and wrote about 720 words about it, which I counted them because I'm so bitter about not winning the award.
Dude, you're not wrong. I mean, the early days were rubbish, frankly, and that's from the company I work with right now. I once got nominated, bearing in mind the only esports journalism I did was as a paparazzi, as Richard will like that. I took photographs, right? I took photographs of
very
esports,
good
and
photographs.
I took a lot. Thank you. I took an awful lot of them. So in the end, I did end up getting a couple that were really good. And one of Grubby, who was crying having won his second WCG, and it was a really awesome photograph. And when I developed it and I got it home and I looked at it, I was like, Jesus, that's really, really good. Even I like it, and I'm the worst critic for it. Somehow that didn't get nominated for a Photograph of the Year award. Didn't even get nominated in 10 photographs, and it was probably better than at least 6 of the photographs that did. Yeah. Yet, oddly, some crappy half-assed piece of writing that I did, and Richard will vouch for this. I'm not a writer. I'm a gorger. I just go and spew stuff on a piece of paper. Hopefully it's got some sort of rhythm to it. But there's no real spelling or grammar attached to it. It's just my thoughts. And somehow I got one of those nominated in the same year. So I know what you mean. It's the popularity thing for me, as I've already said.
But when it moved to committee, it was so much better. And sorry, I've just fucking threw my studio mic across the room. It improved so much, like it really did. And all of a sudden, it was esports luminaries. You know, it was people like Paul went from being nominated to being on a panel and having an input in who won, and guys like Carmack and people like this, and respected people within the industry were kind of dictating, we feel it should be these people, and public vote was the short list, so you could only get on the short list with a public vote. But one of the things that we saw happening all the time, and this happened recently with I think it was the League of Legends competition. It was CS:GO, where a Spanish team, I think it was DreamHack, were having a vote for the last team to get into the tournament, and they spam botted the voting process. And when it came back and they looked at the traffic, they were like, "Hang on a minute!" But they'd already announced the winner because they were far and away above. So public vote is, I think it's fine for some awards, no doubt about it. But I think for any award, we want to have some sort of critical weight. I think committee is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, we also have just even this just these categories. You have 4 distinct communities right there represented, and like you were getting at, a lot of it has to do with just like which game is the most popular, and that they'll win just that general, just say best community award, right? It'd be better if they just had one for each of the communities. Like really, I think distinguishing like the Diablo community, like the best community site or whatever. Or the World of Warcraft, because it's just not, I don't know, I just don't feel like it's really just structured properly, but it's really cool. In general, I think it is cool. The money thing, I wish there were more categories and maybe less money per category, that would be cool.
I'm okay with this, fuck you.
I know you're okay with that, but yeah, so...
Isn't this where you start telling all your fans to vote for you and stuff? Because you have been nominated, haven't you, Chris?
I have, but you can ask someone.
No, stop. Let's do it right now. Link it in chat and vote, because I think Day9 is beating you right now, so this is really important. You guys have to vote for ChanManV.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, don't let Day9 win.
Link it in chat, please. Link it in chat.
For 2 years, to the mainstream media, the only person who worked in esports was Day9. Can someone else have something? Please. Don't let Day9 win another fucking award. We're just so bored of it now.
Can we just?
And that was. I'm just reading off what Chris just typed to me in Skype there.
Oh my god! Okay, now he's lying. He's lying. I mean,
come on, guys. He's in the Forbes under 30. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So the thing is,
under 30 in one of the categories. Calm down there. It was in like the entertainment category.
Yeah. So a lot of people. I don't know. A lot of people, I think, have been like advising me to do this or that, and man, for me, I don't know. I just don't feel like it would be a community, like best community, whatever channel, if we're sitting here lobbying like crazy for votes, at least for this particular category.
I agree. It would look tacky, I think.
That's why I definitely have like linked to vote on this site, to come and link that site, but I don't want to do that. I mean, that's just
seriously, like you're going through a moral, I don't know, crisis of some kind, when actually you should just be out there fucking selling yourself.
But
I seriously, I believe it. I know it. I know it feels wrong, kind of, but the point is if you don't tell people that you want to win, then they don't know that you want to win, and therefore,
well, that's the thing.
You won't win.
Here's the thing. So let me explain to you. Let me explain to you. Like,
Chris, I understand. I totally get it. I do, because I had this kind of moral thing before Christmas. When I saw this vote go up, my immediate response in my head was marketing. Must put that out on Twitter. Must put that on Facebook. But then I went, wait, check, hold on. That's pretty crappy, right? But then I looked at the scores, right? And at the time, In Control had massive amount of votes, and I was just like, Oh, okay. So he's used his Twitter, his Facebook, his EG, the forums, just everywhere. And why not? Why wouldn't he? I'm not going to blame Jeff for doing that, because that's what you're supposed to do. So then I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll put it on Twitter and Facebook then. And then, boom, the votes come in. So I'm like, okay. You have to kind of play the game a bit. If it's going to be public vote, then that's what you have to do.
The way I look at it, to use an analogy, because I know Destiny loves analogies so very much. It's kind of like why Democrats lose to Republicans in elections, because Democrats try and take the moral high ground and not resort to dirty tricks, whereas the Republicans will just sling shit all day. This what you need to do here, Chris, is you need to be more Republican than Democrat. I think is effectively what I'm saying to you. So,
I know. So
how was that analogy, Steve? Was that good? Okay.
No, I mean,
okay, thanks,
I think I think if it was like
more elephant-like, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, for me, I think if it was just like favorite streamer, like Steven's, I don't think I would have as much of a problem with it. It's just because I'm in the best community channel, I just feel like, I don't. I mean, it's not going to feel as good. It's not going to feel as good winning it, okay?
Somebody I'm really close friends with Dana, and I know that he struggles a lot right now with money. So that extra $2,000 for him is probably going to be.
No, and let me point this. Let me point this out too. Sean hasn't tweeted it either. Okay, so, and I'd like to think that.
So,
I mean,
wait, so you're waiting for Sean to tweet about it? So
no. I'm just saying. No.
The fucking gloves come off, and
it's not. No, it's just like I'd rather win it, like, because the community wants me to win it. I mean, that's that's the reality of it. And it's $2,000, $3,000. I mean, whatever. I mean, honestly, you know that doesn't matter. You three guys know that shit doesn't matter to me.
Hold on, because the intro, I think it would fucking change you, Chris, because the intro would definitely change the show. Welcome to the award-winning Unfiltered.
Yeah, see, so there is tangible value for winning.
Oh shit, I got an award-winning stream?
But thing,
you know how much Plex I could buy an Eve with $2,000, ChanManV?
The best part as well is what Chris doesn't know is I'm secretly hoping he wins so I can file a class action suit for my shit. For like the 10 shows that I helped him with or some shit like. I'll be taking
mentioned it on his show.
You better believe that.
What?
Oh shit! Never mind. I was wondering if I would get a cut too, because I'm like 50-50 with the show because I'm the guest star. But then Unfiltered actually was specifically not listed on there, so never mind.
Yeah, it's climbing the ladder, bro.
That's true.
You missed the fucking gravy train, Destiny.
Oh my god.
Hey, wait, I did some of those shows.
That's true.
Oh shit.
He was a host on those shows.
What we'll do is we'll pool our resources, Paul, and we'll lawyer the fuck up.
Awesome. We'll use those guys that got money out for the Bitcoin problems. That's pretty good.
Exactly.
Oh shit. Hey, after that, use those lawyer resources to go after the Quantic dude.
The Quantic dude. Oh my god. No, but anyways, that's the streaming awards. Definitely vote for it. Just vote for your favorites and.
No, don't vote for your favorites. Just vote for fucking Dan.
How subliminal was that? Like, vote for it. Your favorites, that is.
I mean, come on. There's a lot of people that like Day9's content, guy. I mean, it's clear.
Can we get just something scrolling along the bottom of the screen? Saying,
please don't vote for this show ever. Please don't vote. We don't want your votes. Subliminally, it's the other way around. It's like negative psychology. It's perfect.
Okay, moving on.
Day9 mentioned it on his show, by the way. Day9 did mention the poll on his show. That's why he got that huge bump of voters.
Well, if they did,
there you go.
But
that's a surprise.
That doesn't mean
usually so modest and.
It's.
Whoa!
Oh, wait.
It's all good. It's all good. Whatever.
Just stop, Richard. Okay, yeah. Next.
All right, next up. So we got the Blizzard Arcade contest. That's $15K, and this is the first. This is kind of cool. Like Blizzard's doing the streaming, the stream thing, and now they're doing the map thing, and now they're doing something for an arcade game. Like a mod, and $15K. That's like a lot of money for. Just these developers who have basically gotten no love or just like no bones thrown at them for like years now, and now you got this pretty big contest. In first place, I believe, is $7,000 here. Ticket to BlizzCon, just a little bit, a few other perks, but
$7,000. Did you hear how they're actually awarding the prizes though?
No, here we go. How?
There was a leaked blog actually, and what they're going to do for the prizes is first, second, and third place are actually all going to go to Blizzard since they legally own the IPs to all the maps the map makers make anyway.
Okay. I'm just going to stop you there, okay?
Jeez.
There's some precedent for this shit, right? Okay,
there's
some
really cool.
precedent for this shit.
Of course there is.
I also think it's like let's be honest. We talked about two things today, right? Which Blizzard have done that is fucking awesome, because it's not just about the top players or the top casters. It's about streamers, the people that put the real work in behind the scenes, people that make shit for the games and make new games. I mean, holy shit, that's awesome. So props to Blizzard for all of that, because they usually get bashed on programs like this, and I'm not sitting here working for Blizzard, so I don't really care. But
a little bit.
The point is I think, we should actually, now and again, when they do something cool, we should say they do something cool. Second thing is precedent. So yeah, Dota's done this kind of stuff, but also this goes way back, way back to Unreal Tournament. So Epic used to do Make Something Unreal contest. It used to be $1 million back in the day. I don't know if it's still going. It might still be going. I don't know. I'd have to check. But anyway, the point is that you've got to reward the grassroots guys that do this stuff. So for me, this is the start of something.
You got to be a little bit careful with what you're saying here. And this is one criticism that was levied at this, and I can kind of understand it. Like, while this is a really cool award show, like let's be a little bit real here. Like, we're hardly grassroots and we're hardly like behind the scenes or whatever. Like, if you look at everybody that's winning all of these awards, like we've got Jadong, we've got Day9, we've got Trump, we've got Destiny. I don't know who the fuck the Diablo kid is. We've got Crip, and then we've got
Soda Poppin',
right? Mm-hmm. To be fair, and again, like I don't want to say it's a bad idea, because fuck, like, it's money for me. But like, all of the people who are winning this money are only in a position to win the money because they're already probably making quite a decent chunk of change off of this anyway. And I've heard a few people talk about that, and there's not really a good argument to that either, because I mean that's definitely true too.
No, it's not about the money. It's just about the recognition.
But you could probably in the future, they'll learn from this and they'll change it and make it even better.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully this is precedent.
Your point is definitely valid, though, Stephen, and I would agree with you in that maybe next year you split it up, and maybe you have pro streamers and you have amateur streamers, so that we can start tuning into some of the guys like Chris did when he had 25 viewers, and instead of him having to work his ass off for 3 years to get a couple of thousand viewers, these guys are actually in the background doing cool shows that get 25 people, and we go, holy shit, these guys are actually really good, and I've only found them because Blizzard put up, I don't know, 5K in amongst the whole streamers thing, and said, right, amateur, you're not allowed to be partnered with Twitch, you're not allowed to make any money, and we want to see who's out there.
I almost thought that it could have been, the coolest category almost could have been favorite news streamer of 2013, but I mean, throwing Jadong in there kind of fucks that up. You know?
Yeah.
I would literally just do best partnered Twitch streamer, because then...
There you go. That's a good one.
They're all amateurs and they don't earn any money from it. But somewhat, a few of them will then switch and become proper partners out of the fact that we put 15 of them in a public vote and people actually have to watch their streams to decide whether they're any fucking good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, so let me... All right, so we're back to the awards thing.
We're back.
What if there was just no money involved, guys? Like, what if it was just like $100?
Fuck that. Then no one gives a fuck. Okay. It sounds weird, but nobody cares. I mean, like, people might care a little bit, but...
Yeah, people do. I think the people that are nominated will still care. Yeah, Welcome to the award-winning Unfiltered, where we earn no money. I mean, it's still got a catchy tone to it.
Like, it would be a little bit of publicity, but I mean, the money is nice. It's kind of like a catch-22, though, I guess, because the only people that really... I don't know, like, I think that at the top, the people... I honestly, I don't think anybody that wins this is going to give a fuck much about the title, but that's because they're already so famous that they don't care about the title anyway, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's like a catch-22. Like, if the title really means a lot to you, you're probably not the kind of person that's ever going to win it anyway.
Well, it just depends on how, Blizzard really builds this up to be a prestigious thing, in the future or whatever. I mean...
I'll be back in, like, 1 second. I'm going to let my dog real fast.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, if they can make it a prestigious thing, then the money actually doesn't even matter. I think Steven does have a point. All the people that are going to be winning, they're making a healthy living off of streaming, and just the things that they're doing.
I was going to say
already.
the money's going to be a drop in.
Yeah,
not an ocean,
just a throw
but,
in. Yeah. Maybe some of the other folks.
Lake, at least.
Like maybe some of the analytic stats. I don't actually know what the other categories are that are going to be based on stats. Maybe those will be more about rewarding. Just folks that might not necessarily have super high concurrence and stuff like that. It's just
but
about
then,
hours.
I think you also have to remember as well, with awards, what you do is you give other people something to aim at. and it's you know it's about reaching new levels and stuff. So yeah, sure, if Day 9 wins an award because well he's got more popularity and more followers, then he wins the award. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Don't bitch about it.
Yeah,
but the point is that someone else will look at that and go, oh damn it, I really want to be a Day 9, and that's cool too, because then they go out and they produce cool content. So there's aspiration is a key part of any of these kind of awards too. We shouldn't forget that.
Yeah, but there is an element. I mean, to your point though, and like in that particular situation, I totally agree with everything you said there. But to your point though, it'd be like if we were in, let's just say, I don't know, just some movie category, just some like Academy Award category, just and it was public vote, and you have somebody that's just like George Clooney, or somebody who's just like giant celebrity, right? Millions. Yeah. That doesn't change. Like if that person's in the category every year, that person's probably going to win every year.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's why.
Yeah, no, I do.
So it doesn't matter if you want to. It doesn't
I think
matter.
80% of the categories should be decided by some sort of 40-person committee.
Yeah.
Of experts, and then 20% after that, sure, and make them public as well. That's okay.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, we done with the awards now? We're done talking about
other than to say, seriously, we've talked about two things that Blizzard have done. That's $60K, and none of it's going to any of the players. Well, players in terms of a tournament or whatever. I think that should be applauded.
Oh, yeah, I
cool.
absolutely.
Definitely, I agree.
I think so too. And particularly this arcade one, like I said, they've never received a bone. I mean, there was this promise of the arcade allowing these guys to monetize, their work and their products and stuff. Now, it hasn't happened, right? And literally, I know, I've talked to a lot of these devs, the guys that want me to feature their games on Wednesday Night Sprites and stuff like that. And these guys are doing all this stuff for free, for passion or whatever, just to get a product out that you guys, the community, just can just play and just have fun. And that's all they get out of it. They get nothing out of it, right? So
let's not be naive, because the majority of them also want to work in the industry, or they want to make a career out of it, or they want to make money from it. I mean, look at Minecraft, raking in $300,000 a day right now from public sales. So that started off as a bit of fun, and I'll fuck around with some code and I'll spend some time. And sure, these guys put an unprecedented amount of time into it. I'm not going to question that or how hard they work, but they all have an end game, which is they want to work in the industry. And
not all these guys, Paul.
That's cool. I think the majority of them do. I mean,
no
one sets out to make a game that doesn't actually want to be a game maker. Surely, you don't just set out and go, you know what, I'm going to learn Perl today, and I'm going to create a website.
But the thing is,
then I'm going to make a game.
But learning how to make a game in this in this using these tools in Blizzard, that doesn't help you in other games. I mean, this isn't something that you can actually port to another game.
I think it does.
The editor has nothing to do with it.
No. I think from a coding perspective, sure, but from a game creation, is it a storyline? How does it work?
Yeah, game design and intellectual
design.
Okay,
that absolutely carries through, and that's invaluable. I mean, and you
start
go to
your
another company in 3 years from now, and you say, I won the Blizzard Arcade contest 3 years ago with this game that I made. People are going to be fucking impressed.
Yeah. So, restart your cameras, guys. Your camera's like all stopped.
Oh, everyone's?
Yeah, everybody. Restart your camera.
All right,
well,
cool.
That's got to be you then, right?
Yeah. No. I think it's just Skype being a fucking piece of shit.
I was hoping to blame ChanManV. He never does anything wrong.
Oh man, it's a running joke between me and Paul. Every time Paul's on, there's always production issues, man.
Told you.
What was the joke that Too Good made? They got him banned from MLG. Something like, I'm not used to having production issues because I don't normally. Anybody remember that? Am I the only person?
I don't remember. I don't remember getting banned from MLG. Really? Like,
I thought it made it so like he wasn't allowed to cast in MLGs before. This happened like 4 or 5 years ago. Was it longer than that?
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt a comment came from James.
Something happened where fucking Too Good was casting with someone else, and some mic got fucked up, and he said something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not used to having issues like this. I don't normally work for MLG." Casting at some MLG, but maybe it never.
Yeah, that was. He said, "I'm used to working for DreamHack," and got kicked off the MLG stream. He made a joke about it because they were having a tournament delay. So MLG just removed him immediately as a caster, just got rid of him. That was back when MLG didn't know how to handle the community. They've done so well since. So
yeah. So this contest obviously has something to do with the whole arcade being announced, to be free to play and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, how much experience do you guys have with the arcade, Paul and Richard?
Not a huge amount.
Not a month. Richard, anything?
Dude, you're talking to the wrong guy.
Oh,
You know,
God, you guys.
Sorry.
Check it out. Lots of fun games
he
there,
has
guys.
a Battle.net account. He's not used to this whole, going to Brazil and having his account blocked for the 53rd time in 3 months.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, whinging there.
Yeah. No, honestly, I barely have time. I don't
yeah,
sound like
I hear you.
Man thing to say, but
I hear you.
Sorry.
Check it out sometimes, guys. There's lots of good games there, and I'm going to actually be doing.
I'm always meaning to because you're right. Whenever I look at it and I'm like, oh, actually that could be, and then I can't get into that right now.
The cool thing about the arcade is that there are a lot of like sophisticated games. Like almost there are role playing games, and there are even like Mobilite games and that sort of thing. But then you have the other side, which is like more along the lines of mobile games. They're just really simple and just fun that you can just kill time with for, like really quickly. Your camera's gone again, Paul. You're doing this. Actually, I think he's just gone.
Somebody's lagging really bad. I think it might be you, ChanManV.
Ah, shit. If it is me.
The stream is lagging.
Oh, is it? Oh God, it might be me then. Oh well.
Yeah, it's frozen up. I'm pulling a fucking awesome weird surprised face, like someone.
Dude, I didn't even realize what was on your shirt until now. Employee of the month. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
That's
here's
an
the
award
thing.
right there,
like,
baby.
I know I look like a real fucking bum, like more so than usual today. Like literally, the Big Lebowski had come in and told me to smarten the fuck up. But it's been I've got my kind of quarterly review with Heaven Media tomorrow, so I've been looking at stats all day, and yes, I've just been slobbing around the house. So when you said do you want to do a show, I was like, yeah, okay, we'll do the show, but I'm not getting dressed up for it. So, well, whenever I'm doing work, like to kind of feel that I have a normal job, I put on this Employee of the Month T-shirt. Like, I don't know, it just makes me feel.
Is the date on the back? What's the date on it, man?
Oh, fuck knows, dude. Like, this is so old. I think I got this like from some fucking stag do back when I was like virile, had a full head of hair. Like. Because you wear novelty T-shirts at Stag in Britain because we're so fucking funny here.
All right, wrapping up this topic. I think the duration of this is going to be 4 months. So it's announced now, but 4 months later, we're gonna see who wins this thing, and hopefully lots of great products till then. You're gonna win it. So here's a note to all the developers out there. If you'll pay Destiny just a piece of the prize, I'm sure he can actually make you win. If it's going to be a public vote, I bet Steven can get you a win there.
So I've got a prediction to make for 2014-15. I think that Stephen Bonell is going to literally appear in every single category next year. I think that's his money.
That's my goal.
Plan for 2014.
Start doing educational stuff.
2014.
Switch off games every 6 hours. Yeah.
Yep. Start making them.
Go. Eve. Speaking of Eve, why don't we transition to our next topic, which is...
Basically, he's going to change Eve, right? And what he's going to do, he's going to build it inside the Blizzard engine. So that can be a category next year.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. Holy crap.
I don't know if I would go that far because Eve actually runs well on my computer, and I don't know if I would want to lose that by putting it into the Pentium 4 optimized StarCraft 2 engine.
Oh my god. Alright, speaking of Eve, Steven, oh my god. You just lost your cans again. But speaking of Eve, you've been playing a lot of Eve recently. And what do you think of the game? I mean, I've every time I watch it, I don't know what I'm watching, but it definitely seems like
this game is purely designed for the inner autist in all of us, and I matched the descriptor for this game.
Oh my god.
This is the kind of game that I would always have wanted to play, but I didn't want to jump into it because I know it's a bad fucking idea to jump into it, because if I jump into it, I'm gonna get hooked as fuck for months or years. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh man, that means we could be seeing a lot of Eve in the next month here. Interesting. So you play?
I actually used to play it. I actually
really?
used to play a lot of Eve. I quit. I got out. So yeah, I can totally, because I grew up with the original Elite. So the idea of flying and in particular Elite Front.
Wait, hold on. On the BBC.
Yeah. The original Elite by what was it called? David Broadbent from Cambridge.
Bradford.
That's
Brabant.
the fucker, yeah.
Brabant.
Sorry. And then we, when I had my Amiga, had Frontier 2, so which was never ending. It was like one of the first sort of completely persistent games. So when Eve came out, I was like, this is going to be fucking awesome. And I did play it for ages, but the reality is, it's like having a second job. It's not a game to come and relax. Like, you join a fucking guild, you've got commitments, you've got to be out there, like, mining ore, you're like just a drone, a tiny cog in like a massive fucking corporate machine. It's like, it's soul destroying. It's like you come home from a shit fucking job to go into your tiny little ship to mine asteroids all night in a shit job in the distant future. And I think when I gave up was I'd finally got a good ship, and I got podded. For people who don't know, that's where like someone blows up you have an escape pod with a clone in it, and that's the equivalent of a save game, so you don't lose too much. And there's a practice called podding where you blow up the escape pods and it kills the clone. It completely fucks you and puts you back to zero. So after that happening for like the umpteenth time, I was like, fuck this game. So Eve's fucked up, man. Like I don't know how anyone can do it to themselves.
It's also fun, guys. It's also actually fun to play, I'm sure. But for those of you that don't,
fun. It's not. No, you have to be.
It's not
you
fun.
You have to be of a special. Eve is not a inherently fun game. There are a lot of games that aren't built with fun in mind. Like MOBAs might be built for fun, and all that shit might be built for fun. But the reward system in Eve is really iffy. It takes a long time to train skills. And when I say a long time, I mean like when you get to some of the upper levels, like just one of like dozens of skills might take 60 days to level. Like it has to be put in the queue for 60 days, and then when that's done, that one out of like dozens of upper skills will be at that level. Like it's a long time. You can lose everything in an instant. It's very unforgiving. Anybody can kill you in pretty much any area they want. There is no fucking helpers, or you can't just go questing and blah blah. I mean you can, but it's really fucking boring. So I mean Eve is not a kind of game where like, man, I really want to have some fun and like go do this, and like go play Eve. That's not the kind of game it is. So no, it's not a fun game.
So what are the elements of the game that's actually worth the time to play?
Well, I mean, like stuff that no other online games ever sort of achieved. It's not like a World of Warcraft, or rather, what World of Warcraft became, where what you do is pretty much on rails. You mean it's like linear? You mean like? Yeah, exactly. Everyone has pretty much the same experience. Like it's a conveyor belt, right? Like you start here, and then by the end you're a level 90 paladin, and you've lost your girlfriend and your friends and your job in real life. But you've got a level.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but you've got a level 90 paladin. But it's like in Eve, you can actually, the universe changes around what players are doing, which is why it culminates with these huge battles all the time, because people control entire star systems and the knock-on effect that has in the in-game economy and everything. And it's a fascinating study of sort of online gaming and everything that it can be, and online gaming behavior. But again, with that sort of level of depth comes you need to be a very specific type of person to want to have anything to do.
I hate to use this comparison because I use it so often. But real fast, have either of you guys played MUDs, ReDeYe or Richard Lewis? Did any of you ever do that when you were growing up?
Played what?
MUDs, Mushes, smog-based MUD, like multi-user dimensions, text-based games when you were growing up, on the tablets.
Yeah, I did play some of those. Yeah.
Used to play the ASCII one. ADOM was the last one I played.
Yeah, ADOM.
It's pretty good.
Sure. I mean, I could talk more. Well, ReDeYe wanted to say something. What's that?
No. I've never played Eve in the sense that I played Homeland, I played Elite, I played Frontier, I played X-Wing, played all of the space games growing up on all various different formats that I somehow sold my body for. I don't know, my friends. But anyway, I played all these games, and then Eve comes out, and I go, ooh, that's like the most amazing game. But I've got a full-time job, I've got children, I've got a wife, I've got other stuff going on. I really can't. I know if I play 1 minute, I'm going to be stuck there forever. And a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, has played it for I don't know how many years, but a long time. And when I said to him, just explain to me what gets you gripped on Eve, and he said, it's like a giant psychological experiment, and I'm taking part and doing the study.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to share. I don't know if that's true for you guys.
Sure, that's one way to explain it. It's the kind of game where like you don't it's nothing is handed to you. There's not like an easy path to walk. You don't just like jump in a game and it's like, oh, like join good or evil and then just do that for the rest of the game and follow the path, whatever. Like you literally have to make your own shit up like as you go along. Like, are you gonna join an alliance? Are you gonna try to fuck people over? Are you gonna try to scam everyone you come across? Are you gonna go roam with a big group of friends, with 20 friends, and go, like kill NPCs? Or are you gonna have like 10 of those friends backstab the other ones when you get there? Like you can literally do whatever the fuck you want. So it like the entire like it's an actual sandbox with no fucking rules. Like if you want to scam people in game, fucking it's all up to you. If you want to do it, you can backstab friends. You can rip people off. You can destroy corporations from the inside. Like, fucking anything you want to do, you can do. However, I mean, like, study after study, psychology study after study has shown, and the chat can go look them up, that the more choices that you present with people, typically the less happy they are. And a lot of, I guess, psychologists and, like, the write-ups talk about how, like, you feel like when you've got too many choices, you're missing out on too much, and it's harder to make a choice. And EVE is a lot like that. There are no right ways to play the game, especially with character development. Like, you can go in and you can waste fucking months and achieve nothing, or you can work up for months. You can work up for 6 months to some awesome shit and lose it all in an instant. In a relatively safe spot, you can lose it all if some guy decides like fuck it, like I'm gonna fucking kill this guy in high sec. I'm gonna alpha his fucking ship that he saved up 6 months for just because I'm a fucking asshole. And you could do it, and they'll be and you're back to square fucking one. So like it's the kind of game that you have to go into it knowing like I want to do this. You have to engage your mind the entire fucking time. There is no easy path to just follow. And it's like that. I'm of the mindset where I love shit like that, and I love to fucking sit in it, and like your mind is engaged the entire time, and there are no easy answers, and you're constantly thinking and doing things and moving forward on no predetermined path, but kind of forging your own way, making like this unique kind of thing that no one else has done, because everybody does their own thing, And I like that. That's really interesting to me. It's not for everybody, but it is for me.
Yeah, sounds pretty fascinating. I definitely try to watch you play it from time to time this last
Sure.
week, but yeah,
it's not something you can watch either. Like,
yeah, it's hard to figure out what you're doing.
Say about any like game, I guess. If you don't play it and don't understand it, it becomes very hard to watch. But EVE is something else. Like
sure.
even
If you watch for like I'm one of the few people. EVE doesn't have a lot of streamers because people are really anal about like they don't want to give away like positions or operational security and shit like that. But if you watch my stream for a little bit, like after this broadcast is over, I'm waiting for you fucks to all shut up so I can leave. Once this is over, we're gonna go out again with my fleet. And I think if you watch long enough, I think for the most part you can kind of pick up on what's going on. As long as you watch, but you have to watch attentively. Like I said, it's something where your mind has to be engaged the entire time. You can't just like watch it and then like not think and then look back and like instantly know what's going on. Can I? So like for like a real quick thing, okay? Like this is like an example of shit that can happen. I'm very new to the game. I'm in a unique position, obviously, because a lot of people donate me money and I'm famous and whatnot, so I can get decent numbers on my side. But like, so this is something that happened just recently, right? A few days ago, actually yesterday, was it yesterday? We were all flying around, okay, right? And all of us were flying around in low security systems, me and a fleet of like 50, 60 people, okay? We get into a fight with another few people, we end up killing them, but I take an okay amount of damage, such that I want to land on a space station and repair my shit, right? So what happens is, me and my fleet go to the space station, and I land there, and a lot of us land there, but it turns out that there's like another group of people waiting there, and so some of the people get fucked, some of us land, right? But then what happens is like a second organization ends up coming back from, I don't know if they were ratting or doing what, but a second group of ships comes back, and there's like literally like fucking 128 ships. Or originally it was like 40 or 50 ships just outside the space station. So we're fucked, right? And I end up having to call the clan that I'm in, Goon Squad, to bring some people over. And, long story short, they end up setting like 100 ship fleet over. The other people ended up calling in reinforcements, and it turned out that there was like this big fucking like 10 billion ISK battle, which amounts to some hundreds of dollars in USD of ships lost. But just like as a result of something as silly as we had to dock in a system that wasn't safe, and then as a result of like escalation on both sides, it turned into like this relatively large battle that like no one really saw coming, So shit like that can happen. I think it's really interesting.
All right, very cool.
Yeah, there we go. Wow, if you want to play, go to destiny.gg/Eve. You can sign up under me, and I get bonuses for your referrals, and I might split with you if I'm feeling nice, but it's really hard to verify who splits with me. Wow, what a game.
What a game.
Definitely not doing that.
Oh my god. Exactly. Me too. But I'll definitely watch you play. But... All right, let's take another quick break, and then we'll do some questions, and then wrap up the show. We'll be back.